120 acres of farmland, and the fences aren't for me. These words were spoken by an incarcerated individual at the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation's Second Chances program at Wallkill Correctional Facility a few weeks ago. He was marveling at the landscape unfurled before us. 9 fields housing 45 thoroughbreds, peacefully grazing in the shadows of New York's Shawangunk Mountains. He spoke to me about his childhood and his passion for race cars and their inner workings, how this corresponded to his interest in horses and what made them tick. He was fascinated by the way horses are put together, how their conformation plays a role in what injuries or conditions they may be subject to. This conversation occurred while he scratched one mare's cheek and draped his arm across another one's neck. The TRF Second Chances program had 30 years under its belt before the term Aftercare became a standard in the thoroughbred racing industry. It became so successful that the TRF eventually expanded into private sanctuary farms to accommodate all the horses in need of a safe landing place. Today, the TRF works with departments of corrections in 5 states to provide 8 TRF Second Chances programs. These programs now serve men, women, and youthful offenders. In addition, the TRF provides sanctuary at 10 private farms in 7 states. The TRF herd comprises nearly 400 retired thoroughbreds. Whether they've won hundreds of thousands of dollars or just hundreds of dollars, they are welcomed into our herd. We do not judge our horses or the incarcerated individuals who care for them. The TRF's mission is to provide dignified lifetime care. We are especially proud of our collaboration with departments of corrections around the country, now spanning over 40 years, and the transformations we have made in the lives of so many incarcerated individuals. Students learn hands-on skills in equine care, farm management, and land stewardship via classroom and practical work taught by vocational instructors and guest lecturers. We follow a widely used curriculum whose grading levels translate to life outside of prison and allow graduates to explore employment opportunities in many facets of the equine industry. In a 3-way collaboration between the TRF, between West Hills Community College, a California correctional facility, and the TRF, our curriculum was certified by the college, so students receive credits upon completion. Although our youngest horse is only 5 years old, the average age of our herd last year was 22. Senior horses often have more medical issues than young ones, so our veterinary bills are one of our largest expenses. With an average length of stay of 12 years and an average annual cost of $5,000 per horse, the TRF spends about $2 million per year to care for these animals. Unlike many other organizations that serve retired racehorses, the horses in our herd rarely come to us directly from the racetrack. The majority join our herd after a 2nd or 3rd post-racing athletic career. Sport horses, lesson horses, trail horses. Some of them are responsibly retired by their owners or breeders, and some of them come from less fortunate circumstances: death of a family member, forced relocation, or livestock auction. The support for our herd comes largely from private individuals through annual appeals, special events, grants, and bequests. Other sources include investment interest, retirement fees, and our endowment. We do not receive any government funding. The TRF is accredited by both the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries. What began as a vocational training program intended to provide incarcerated individuals with job skills for life after parole and retired racehorses with a safe landing place quickly became so much more. The TRF Second Chances programs created powerful opportunities for healing and growth through the profound connection between horses and humans. Former Second Chances students have gone on to careers as assistant trainers, farriers, exercise riders, grooms, client managers, and even a privately owned media company that specializes in equine sales promotion. Perhaps more importantly for the mental health of an incarcerated population, the Second Chances programs also teach soft skills such as love, trust, mutual respect, responsibility, empathy, courage, compassion, and communication. In 2024, Julianne Stowell, a graduate of the TRF Second Chances program at Lowell Correctional Facility in Ocala, Florida, was awarded the prestigious Thoroughbred Industry Employee Newcomer of the Year Award. Please watch TRF board member Maggie Wolfendale-Morley speaking to Jules last year.
My name is Julianne Stowell, and I'm the Director of Client Relations at Now Brennan Stables. Prior to this role, I was known as inmate E53130.
Jules, take us back to when you first got into Lowell, when you were first incarcerated, and just the feelings and your mind frame when you first got there.
Numb, very numb. I felt alone, if that makes sense. You know, you're surrounded by people, but it's one of the loneliest places you can be. A toxic relationship, a poor choice of friends, and a multitude of bad decisions led me to being separated from the world I once knew.
So when did you begin the Second Chances program?
I was 3 years into my sentence.
For everyone who doesn't know, what is the TRF Second Chances program?
So it's a vocational educational program that's offered inside the prison. It's textbook driven program, but it's also hands-on. So it's a multi-purpose program. Upon walking through the gates of hell, something I never expected to see caught my eyes. Horses up on a hill grazing in a pasture.
What did you find that they taught you immediately when you started the program?
The horses?
Yeah.
Kindness. They taught me patience, understanding. They taught me probably more about myself than about them. I was blessed to be in the program for a little over 2 years, and during that time my life changed drastically. I was beginning to heal, learning to love myself again, and started gaining my confidence back. I had a purpose and responsibilities again. I now had something to care for and look forward to. My healing nature kicked in, and not just for the animals, but for myself. As I was nurturing these beautiful beings, they were nurturing me as well.
If you had to tell somebody, as somebody that's lived through it and gone through it, what is the single most important thing that the TRF does for horses and humans?
Their tagline, their new tagline, you know, they changed it for the mere fact that it's not just about the horses. It's saving horses, but it's also changing lives. And that, you can't say it any better than that.
From the original contract between the TRF and Walkill, written on a typewriter in 1984, I will share a quote that most accurately sums up the challenges we face when navigating a state entity as large and regulated as the Department of Corrections. Each of the undersigned realizes that this is a new and untried program. Problems and difficulties may arise which have not been foreseen. 5 state governments, 8 correctional facilities, countless commissioners, wardens, superintendents, deputies, and officers. Aside from the state governments, the people filling every other position I just mentioned can change overnight. Horses thrive on routine, so the TRF is tasked with maintaining this equilibrium amidst an ever-evolving landscape of protocol. With the broad support of each DOC and the local support of each facility's wardens, the TRF Second Chances program can be models of success. With a change of warden or deputy, our programs can lose favor in an instant. Other corrections hurdles that we have been faced with include bail reform and prison closures. In New York State, the pool of incarcerated individuals from which our students are pulled has shrunk with the reduction of minimum security facilities. The TRF is not here to comment on bail reform. We use it merely to illustrate policy changes that not only affect our programs, but over which we have no control. Prison closures, especially in New York, also weigh heavily on the TRF. How do we invest in a program when the correctional facility that houses it can be shuttered with just a few months' notice? Fortunately, most DOC leadership is receptive to our concerns and will work with us to make any necessary changes that result from their policy adjustments. Unfortunately, we are often faced to operate reactively instead of proactively. Another pain point for the TRF and its Second Chances program is contracts. Our 10 sanctuary farm contracts aside, we have 8 other ones with our correctional facility partners, and not one of them is identical. Infrastructure, corrections officer availability, and vocational instructor experience differ at all of these locations, so our contracts must reflect that. As many of you are aware, there was a corrections officer strike across New York State in the spring. Shortages of these officers exist at most of the nationwide facilities where we keep our horses. State budgets that include funds for repair of state-owned infrastructure are often slashed. Where does that leave the TRF? With very little leverage. If a fence needs repair, but the prison can't afford to do it, despite what our contract says, do we risk having one of our horses injure itself on the broken board, or hope the prison will fix it before such a thing happens? The TRF's commitment to our horses is paramount, so we pay to repair that fence. The TRF is a nonprofit organization. How can we possibly win a contract dispute with a state government? Our lack of leverage in this enforcement severely affects our ability to be proactive and strategically plan on a budgeting and programming level. Perhaps the biggest challenge facing the TRF Second Chances programs is a lack of recidivism data. Anecdotally, I can tell you that of all 32 men through our program at Blackburn Correctional in a 4-year period, only one has reoffended. My source, our incredibly dedicated farm manager and vocational instructor, who keeps track of his own recidivism rates. Unfortunately, we can't submit that information as part of a grant application since it's not an official record. Why don't I have that data? Because correctional facilities are reluctant to share this information with the TRF and may not actually track the data by program. Imagine knowing your organization is successfully serving people, but not having access to the proof. We are a small nonprofit without the resources or time to explore what information should legally be available to us, and subsequently how to collect that information. Ideally, we would be armed with all of this information so we can expand our grant application opportunities, elevate our promotional materials, and ensure that each warden, new or existing, would be hard-pressed to divert resources to other programs when presented with cold, hard TRF facts. Thoroughbred Aftercare is an incredibly complex ecosystem. Thoroughbred Aftercare is also an incredibly important stage of every racehorse's life, and a stage that ideally shouldn't be looked upon as charity, but as a natural continuum of what begins with the birth of every foal. I have seen what a 15-year-old gelding who ran 45 times at Arapahoe Park can do for a human being who is scared or hopeless or angry. A human being who may have committed a crime, but also happened to be caught committing that crime. I can assure you that most of us in this room have done something that, had fortune not looked in our favor, could have put us on the wrong side of a prison fence. The Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation is doing good work and doing our very best work when we provide second chances for the horses and humans we are privileged to serve. I will leave you with a word tree that was pulled from the questionnaires we give to our students upon graduation from the TRF Second Chances programs. You'll find a smaller version of it at your seat, so you can take it home and read it. Please take a moment to read what they have written. It is far more profound than anything I can tell you. Thank you.